It's bad when one thing becomes two. One should not look for anything else in the way of the samurai. It's the same for anything else that is called a way. If one understands things in this manner, he should be able to hear about all ways and be more and more in accord with his own.
Samurai cinema is an expansive medium across practically all genres. What makes a real samurai classic? What singles out these outliers from those that don't stack up? What's the key differences between something like Seven Samurai and The Last Samurai? Now, first off, this isn't a put-down for The Last Samurai. I believe it's a good movie still. It just doesn't stack up to some of the films I'll be recommending today. Is it just because these others were made by Japanese filmmakers, and The Last Samurai an American? That's not the case, as Ghost Dog Way of the Samurai was also made by a non-Japanese filmmaker, and it's very true to a real samurai classic. I believe a core aspect every great samurai classic needs is to address the flaws of samurai culture somewhere in the story, to show the hypocrisy, or the toxic and authoritative nature that came with the mantle in real history. Back to my first two examples, Seven Samurai displays how honor and the calling to protect common folk and peasants meant nothing to most samurai the villagers in the film were trying to hire. The seven they were able to get were rare exceptions who weren't interested in money. The film also has a very emotional speech later, where Toshiro Mifune's character goes on about the evil deeds samurai often commit. It's a visceral monologue that Mifune delivers, and it reaches the hearts and cuts deep into his fellow samurai. This very real critique of the violent and despicable nature of their class profession is necessary, as it paints a true picture. These were not the all-honorable, good-doing warriors you so often see in romanticized telling, like in The Last Samurai, which relies more on the fantasy version of the samurai than what was their reality. Ken Watanabe's character and his army refused to use guns, even though the real man his character is based on loved guns. In fact, all samurai basically loved guns. They were warriors after all, and a weapon that lets you pierce armor from long range was a must for any class warrior back then. If you watch most historically accurate samurai films, like again, Seven Samurai, you'll see them bringing out firearms as often as they possibly can. Hell, my personal favorite samurai film, Ran, has so much gun use, the entire battle scenes are often overpowered by the audio of the gunfire. Even Ghost Dog, the titular samurai hitman in the modern day, doesn't rely on a katana at all. He uses a pistol mostly throughout the entire film. Samurai were warriors, so killing was a large part of their profession, and to romanticize such is a fatal flaw that's very easy to fall into. Of course, shying away from their grim reality isn't the only key aspect of a genuine samurai masterpiece. Others, like Kill or Three Outlaw Samurai, are more focused on fun, less dramatic tales. They're a good time, but they aren't the powerful showcases of filmmaking others in the genre are known for. Which is fine, and needed, as everyone should watch movies that are aiming to be a good time, just as much as they would watch a serious piece of art. Kill is often lumped with Yojimbo, easily one of the most influential movies to come from Japan and Akira Kurosawa. It's easy on the surface to say why Yojimbo is more fondly remembered, as it's simply the more gripping, better shot, and entertaining film. Kill isn't a lazily made movie at all. In fact, it tries to tell an intricate story about a corrupt politician and a rival samurai. But Yojimbo's focus on a lone wandering ronin, who gets emotionally invested in this gang war, tried to stay objective towards, is just far more engaging and delivered practically on gold. You feel, dare I say, the real ideal of the samurai code in Yojimbo. Toshiro Mifune's nameless ronin at first seems rather cold on the violent gang war here. He feels like he's taking on the quest of killing two criminal gangs corrupting this town, simply because he's bored. However, as the movie goes on, you see him forsake reason and rationality in favor of his emotions. Something he called other characters stupid for doing. It's those emotions that show his true side. A man who wants to protect the weak and bring peace. The same sense of duty that the Seven Samurai carry to protect the village from bandits, and the three outlaw samurai as well in their fight against corruption. Even Ken Watanabe's character in The Last Samurai abided by this. Now, you can make a case that The Last Samurai does try to have an angle criticizing the hell-bent nature on duty and honor, when it isn't trying to make it seem virtuous and right.
From the moment they wake, they devote themselves to the perfection of whatever they pursue. I have never seen such discipline.
The violence can't be shied away from. The toxic obsession on duty and loyalty has to be addressed. And above all else, the nuance of the samurai culture can't be simplified into some romantic fantasy. Ghost Dog might be a good man, but he was still a killer for hire, just living by a strict code that allowed the film to show the true clash in ideals and action that the samurai preached. They were a complicated and fascinating group. It's why they inspired so many stories that are easily among the best put to screen. I could say more about the numerous works of Akira Kurosawa's samurai flicks, but I don't want to ramble about a man others have gone to greater lengths and detail to praise. I do plan to cover more of his filmography sometime down the line, as well as Masaki Kobayashi, since I didn't even touch on the evil samurai subgenre today. What I'll leave you with for now are these recommendations for samurai films closer to the real thing, over the romantic fantasy so many first think of.